Andy Johnson, Minnesota State University. We are looking at teaching writing. You teach the process, the 5-step process to develop the skill: pre-write, draft, revision, 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 edit, publish, share. A couple more things about teaching writing or helping students develop their ability to create meaning with print. Do not dismiss the impact of in-class sharing. A lot of your ideas, pre-write, write, and share. When I'm doing this, I watch my students during the writing time, and they write maybe for 2 to 6 minutes at the very most. That's the draft. And I'm watching them when I do these quick, simple writing activities. When the energy leaves their pencil or their fingers, I will give them a mile marker and say, boys and girls, finish up the idea that you're on and get ready to share at your table or with your neighbor. These are the quick pre-write, write, and share. I do this when I'm teaching reading a lot. Writing is important in developing students' reading skills. The importance of sharing. Now, the type of sharing I do with my class at the beginning of the year is much different than I do at the middle and end of the year. Sharing over time develops community and understanding. Students are sharing their real thoughts and experiences with others. They're being real human beings. They're seeing the commonalities. This is the power of writing. Develops community. But you have to be careful. You have to have a sense of your class. You have to teach them how to respect and respond. What about the silly stuff? Oh, that's just fluff. That gets in the way of students writing. They'll need to write technical academic writing in the real world. I say pish posh, because you are learning how to convey your thoughts and ideas effectively. You're looking for the precision of words and the effect these words have, even if you're writing silly stuff. And there's transfer. Yes, you're writing a silly play or a silly open mic or whatever it is, but the skills and processes in learning this creative and personal writing, journal writing, transfers to the more formal writing. You're using the same pre-write, draft, revise, edit, share as you do with a formal paper. So yes, you should encourage the silly writing, and students are motivated to be silly and creative. I mean, young children like being silly and creative. Why not use that energy? So yes, you can use that. It's okay to be funny and to have fun and learn at the same time. Absolutely. We need to put the arts back in language arts. Poetry, drama, song lyrics are art, are poetry. Comedy, monologues, podcasts, all this stuff. Put the art in language arts, creating. Now, why is that important? Because the arts, learning to see, develops neural pathways, expands those neural networks, and the more neural networks you have, the easier it is to learn. You're expanding this, you're enhancing students' ability to learn. As I said, most writing activities, pre-write, write, and share, 2 to 10 minutes. And you can share in small group, that's best, either orally, or you can actually read it, or you can pass papers with a partner, 1 or 2, find a neighbor, swap papers, or author's chair. A lot of different ways to share. Now, drafts. I have students keep their draft in a file folder, which I have a milk carton there with each kid has a file folder. Or if they're using a notebook, I want to keep their notebook not in their desk, but in a special place on the shelf so it doesn't become lost. And they have all their drafts in there, and they get to decide which one of these drafts they want to take to the revising and editing stage. A lot of these pre-write and share, there's just going to be interesting drafts, but you get to pick. Students get to pick the ones that they want to develop. And to get a sense of my students' progress, I don't need no stinking test. I look at 3 to 5 papers every day and get a sense. 3 to 5 students a day. 2 weeks, you get a good sense of every student where they're at. That's authentic assessment. once students know they're going to write every day, they start thinking about writing even when they're not writing. Now, if students haven't written before, haven't been asked to write before, it takes time to get them going. So expect that if they come into your classroom not having written a lot. I like to use a language experience approach. Here, you get students talking about an experience. This can be done in small group, large group, or individually, and you record what they say. This works good for emergent writers, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, or struggling readers and writers. But that is a form of writing. And I sometimes have to ask them, what do you want to write about today? What's going on in your lives? What are you thinking about? What do you want to tell? What have you noticed? What did you do yesterday? Sometimes individually or in groups, you have to ask them, what do you want to write about today? Human beings have ideas and they naturally want to express ideas verbally and in writing. Writing is a way to do that. So you always have to ask yourself, what gets in the way of this natural inclination to write and share ideas? Humans naturally want to do this. I sometimes have them keep a list of things in their journal or folder. In the front cover, I have this poster, ideas that sound interesting, things you notice. And they have this list of ideas in their folder, stapled on their folder or notebook. And when it's time to write, they can use that as a draft or revision. Prime the pump is where I read a story to get their ideas going. And again, the importance of the teacher being a writer. What did you think about when you listened to this story? Tell about a time when you're priming the writing pump. Sometimes to get out of the classroom, I have students go on a noticing tour. What did you notice? Be scientists. Notice something and describe. These are all ideas to get writing going. With older students, I do what's called a brain walk. You write a word on top of the paper, identify the first thought or image, use words or a phrase to capture it, move to the next thought, repeat until the page is full. When I did this, you see, the first thing that popped into my mind, brain walk, balloon, circus in Grasberg, fairgrounds, fairs, burning down the animal barn, carnival. You get the idea. It looks like kind of a jumbled mess, but out of this gravel, I've got 3 or 4 interesting things that I could write about, ideas that popped into my head, staying at grandma's house. Ooh, that would be an interesting thing to write about. Power Write, we've talked about where you keep the pencil moving 2 to 3 minutes. Write the first thing that happens. You tell students, we're going to do this for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And we'll be looking at writing prompts in the next video, teacher writing prompts.